So hey guys, Kashtira support just dropped, and also Rescue Ace. I was excited for Rescue Ace, and then I realized, oh wait, this is completely unplayable. So you have all these interesting effects, like when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you attribute this card from your hand or face upfield, special summon a Machine Rescue Ace monster from your deck, and then the question is, then what? Yeah. So you can summon literally any of these guys, and they all do basically nothing. None of their cards actually, like, significantly do anything. It's mostly just Rescue Ace Turbulence, and only on your turn. Aside from that, I don't see a way to, like, do, like, much of anything. So you can summon guys on your opponent's turn, but it won't do anything, like, at all. They're apparently missing some cards or something, so... Well, gotta wait for that. Also, my polls not that great for Rescue Ace. Not that like super great in general. So yeah, I didn't even have a single copy of Big Bang, so I'm just going to hold off on crafting it. So I was just testing without Big Bang. I do know the theory behind like Big Bang. Like you can attach Big Bang and Kashtira Theosis onto your Arise Heart, and then like detach them on the Banish effect, and that's a little bit of a material loop you have going there. So, anyways, more importantly, uh, well, a lot of these cards, like for cash, are very, very awkward. And what I mean by that is, well, the engine is super heavy. Like, well, super hefty, perhaps. No need to get it mixed up with super heavy samurais. No, the engine's not like super heavy. It's just super hefty, if that makes sense. So, if I go ahead and like special summon Fenrir, that's good, right? But let's just do a sample hand here. So, you can pretend these guys are more Kashtira monsters. Like, for example, I don't know, more copies of Scareclaw Cash or something. It doesn't really matter. So, here we have a barely playable hand, is what it would look like, but no. Kashtira Riceheart and Scareclaw, they don't actually work together. I can't get two buddies on the field. So, the most I could do is, I guess, make like Baron Pass here, or Chinging Pass, and then set some back row. Okay. And then I have like Ascend of Thunder, I have Kashtira Scareclaw, Kashtira Ogre, and then we have Birth. If we did not have Birth, this hand's just completely unplayable. But the issue is, do you see how fragile this hand is? If something happens to, like, one of my monsters here, more or less, it just becomes pretty unplayable. That or, like, for example, Ghost Ogre on Birth completely ruins, like, my chance to do any kind of play. Like, if you Ghost Ogre this, the best I can do is make myself 5,000 life points, and also Shangri-Ira Pass. And also, I have Ash Blossom and Joy Spring in hand, if that means anything. So maybe go Baron instead of Shangri-Ira, but it's like about the same. Shangri-Ira with Ash in hand is like moderately better. But does this get us anywhere? No, not really. Just pain and suffering. Also, I need to take out this macro. It's not really doing much for me. But one of the things that's also worth mentioning is that Kashtira isn't that good with Maxi. And what I mean by that is obviously you can't activate Maxi under Macrocosmos, and it's not like with Pearly where you can just XYZ summon into a Rise Heart on your opponent's turn. So you will need a Rise Heart on field, and a Rise Heart's like one of your best cards, so of course you will have a Rise Heart, and then you won't be able to Maxi. So, yeah. That's also a thing. Pretty awkward. And also, the mirror, like, sucks ass. Like, yeah. By sucks ass, I mean, like, you just get Zeused, and then you just lose, pretty much. That's kind of how the mirror goes. It's like, whoever can get into Zeus first, in my opinion. That's a very big part of it. And also, the tech cards that destroy Kashtira, I don't think they really matter that much, because, like, for example, Raigeki, this removes everything. This just leaves them with Shangri-Ira, and then, like, maybe their back row. does their back row do anything? Kashtira back row? Well, no. Prep won't actually do anything if you activate Raigeki because everything gets sent to the graveyard, so this doesn't do anything. Big Bang. I mean, technically this does do something. If a Kashtira XYZ monster is on the field and a player controls 2 or more monsters, they must banish monsters they control face down, so they only control 1 monster. But, this honestly, not that big of a deal, and I'll tell you an easy reason why. If you control 2 or more monsters, it says, so this will leave you with still 1 monster. So, that, not the best. But this doesn't end your turn, so you still have some stuff going for you. If Big Bang, I guess, not doing that great, but yeah, evenly matched. This just obliterates the board. Like, there are no like spell trap negates or monster negates either, which makes it really awkward to deal with like most cards realistically. Like, for example, if I were to just summon Pank, just for example, right? What response does the cash player have to this? A Rise Heart effect, assuming it's a 3-mat one, right? And that's about it. Aside from that, I guess you can also use your like unicorns and your Fenrir effects after on the new chain, whatever you have. Like that's true, I guess. You could do that, but does it get you anywhere? I mean, not really that big of a deal. The most unicorn does realistically nowadays is just unicorn effect, banish Zeus. And yeah, that's about it. And I mean, typically everyone runs 2 of their starters anyways, like 2 of their like key cards. And it wasn't like anything to do with like cash anyways. It's just like sometimes you just need to make the second cheese out, right? So you won't have the option to make the second cheese out, I guess, if they banish your cheese out now. Or like, for example, with I don't know, let's see, Blackwing. I just run, of course, like 2 copies of both Blackwinged Dragon and also Blackwing Voidstorm the Wicked Wing, because sometimes you'll need to use the effect of Vata twice, and Blackwing Dragon is like a pretty decent level for things, right? So sometimes I'll just have to do that, you know? And also, Boreas Storm's effect to like Foolish Burial essentially is pretty damn good, right? So I run 2 of those anyway. So if you banished like one of them and it was a one-of, that would really hurt me. But why would I ever play them as a one-of? Yeah. So like for a deck like Punk though, this hurts a little bit more, but it's like meh. So you typically always have like an extra Synchro 8. And that's for a variety of reasons, but like at the very least you'll need an extra one if you're playing like Gamma. And sure, you could banish like Rising Carp, but there's still plays to be made after like Rising Carp gets banished. For example, I can just raw go into Dragon Drive. If you banish Dragon Drive, I can still go into Rising Carp and then do some things, you know? It's just fine in general. In fact, there's still the play for Rising Carp, special summon, let's say for example, Xiamen, and then like Wagon or Madame Spider, doesn't matter which, and then Xiamen effect to add either like Ogre Dance or Foxy Tune, and then tribute over like, I don't know, Xiamen, and then make Psychic and Punisher. Like, that play exists, right? And also, worth mentioning is, with all of the rank 7 stuff you play in, Cash? Well, hold up. Let's go to 7s. So, with all your rank 7s, none of these guys actually help you out at towers. like this, expertly noir. Literally, if your opponent sits on a 5 material noir, how do you out this? You can't. And then, like, all they need to do is probably attach, like, Happy Memory to this, and then just start running over all your monsters. Your biggest guy is 3k, and it can be a little bit bigger if you have Kashtira Theosis, which is pretty, you know, pretty strong. But the fact that their board is so fragile makes them a lot weaker than, like, for example, Tearlament and basically, like, every combo deck ever. Like, Sprite is actually probably stronger than Cash right now. Just overall, I'd say. Like, yeah. In fact, it's arguably more oppressive as well. Because they have, like, Monster Negate, Spell Trap Negate, Omni Negate, and then, like, Bounce, and then, like, Hand Traps, because that, like, end board and all the effects I just named are, like, from a one-card combo. Like, Normal Summon, Nimble Beaver. That would do it. Yep. Or, like, just anyway into, like, 2 level 2 monsters. Normal Summon Diva, I believe, right? That works. So, like, Deep Sea Diva, normal summon that. And then you summon another Deep Sea Diva. And then you make Gigantic, summon Blue, and then that just ends on, like, all that crap, basically. If you have a legit 1 card, the only issue is that you can't end on, like, both red and what color was this? Red? And what? Sprite red and then Sprite carrot. Why is this called carrot? Well, anyway, I'm getting distracted a bit now. So I've been testing a bit, and this deck is incredibly mid, and it can just brick so hard. It's kind of like, eh. Honestly, in this state, like, it's worse than full power flu, like, straight up. For example, like, first off, how do you deal with getting max seed here when, you know, you're playing Cash? The issue with getting max seed typically is just, well, at minimum, you have to summon 4 times to end on more or less anything. Aside from that, you Fenrir pass, and that is your entire board, essentially, if you want to play around Maxi, I guess. Just literally passing on Fenrir, and then, like, I don't know, Fenrir add Unicorn or something. Passing like that. That is just pretty awkward, you know? Yeah, I guess you could do that, but does that get you anywhere? Not really. And then there's also the issue of, like, this one seems super important, but you can't banish your own cards. Like, you have exactly Tearlament's Kashtira, and then Scareclaw Kashtira. And this can help you in the sense that it can banish your Kashtira cards. Notably, only your Kashtira cards. So, if you have any other, like, banish synergies that you want to try running, like, I don't know, Necroface, you wouldn't be able to Necroface. Like, if you have Necroface in the graveyard, how do you get Necroface into the graveyard? No idea. But let's say you do have Necroface in the graveyard for whatever reason. What can you do to Necroface? You can't banish it. Yeah. So, nothing you can do with this Necroface. But if you did have Necroface activated, you could probably fairly easily deck out your opponent. Like, with the combination of Arise Heart and Necroface, Necroface can just keep attaching and detaching from, like, Arise Heart, and that can do, like, a good bit of damage, I suppose, right? So, that's fine. But, like, if I want to, I don't know, banish, I don't know, like, literally anything, I can only banish Kashtira cards. And that moderately sucks. But that's not, like, a super big thing. But I guess there's another thing, like, well, one more thing here. Like, if you summon Arise Heart, this is essentially your whole board, which sucks. So like with Tearlaments, for example, they also had a boss monster, but it had like with Rukelos. Rukelos has like all sorts of protection against all sorts of BS. So for example, I have a Rise Art, you activate Imperm on a Rise Art is negated and it's gone for that turn, right? At the very least, even if you don't add it, right? But you probably will, like, Zeus is on the table for sure, right? But like with Rukelos, for example, Salik send Rukelos special summons back, it still has the negate, like absolutely disgusting. If you Raigeki, Rukelos just summons back. If you do like a Kaiju, that would actually get rid of Rukelos, but if they have a Redoer at least, that can just summon back like Rukelos if you really want to. Like with let's say we have Sharon attached onto Redoer, detach Sharon for effect, Sharon effect, make Kick Kelos sends Havness summons Rukelos using Kick Kelos and Havness just to summon it back, right? And then Salik is still alive. Or still online, you know? The only like good things like in terms of rank 7s, I guess you have like Big Eye, and then you have Dark Arm, the Dragon of Annihilation. That's about it. This is not hard once per turn, so you can destroy 2 cards. Minimum with Dark Arm Dragon, assuming you make it with like 2 guys. Big Eye, soft once per turn. You can just yoink one of your opponent's monsters. That's pretty decent, but yeah. Doesn't get you very far, honestly. Issue is, well, Big Guy, easily negatable. Monster interactions are like the most plentiful type of interaction. I have personally like never gone mileage at Big Guy, like ever. Maybe it's like fine as a 1-of or something, but like Big Eye has never done anything for me. I don't remember a single time I've managed to resolve Big Eye, or like where it would be worth it to resolve Big Eye. Well, that's my personal experience anyways. Also worth mentioning is like the first line here. It has some fun wording. Once per turn, you can also XYZ summon Kashtira or Iceheart by using 1 Kashtira monster you control. If an effective Kashtira Shangri-Ira was successfully activated this turn. So, does this state anywhere that it has to be your Kashtira Shangri-Ira? It does not. So, if you go ahead and activate a Iceheart, well, not activate Iceheart. If your opponent activates Shangri-Ira, which of course they would. Why would you not like do Shangri-Ira summon like a guy? That's completely logical to do and something like pretty much everyone would do, right? So, of course you would do that. So if they do that, then you could literally normal summon Riseheart, make a Riseheart, attack with a Riseheart into literally whatever, not super important. Make Zeus on top of Riseheart, and that's a 2 mat Zeus, and that just board wipes. And then there isn't like a whole lot of like super good recovery. There is like one or 2 recovery options like at that point, because you'll probably have went through like all of your cash stuff, so you're probably in a top decking game after like getting Zeused. So now you can top deck either Fenrir or Unicorn. And that's about it. There isn't much of anything else that super works. I guess there's also Birth, but I believe like people are cutting down on the copies of Birth to run like more Theosis, and that affects the recovery after getting like Zeused. But yeah, if you get like hand trapped or something, you're doing like much worse. So keeping in mind that the only play that was made like by your opponent that was needed to out your board was normal summon 1 guy. So like let's do a sample hand here. Like in this the example I gave, okay, we just all we do is normal summon Riseheart, no effective Riseheart, just make a Riseheart attack, and then we can just go ahead Zeus. And then here we have like Called By, Ogre, Second Rise Heart, Birth, and of course like I could technically use these guys to combo a little bit. So I guess we can, let's see, is there anything we can do? Actually, not this turn, but next turn we can go off, right? And then we have Called By, so whatever names whatever name they draw, they probably went through like all of their names anyway, so they should all be in the graveyard. We can just Called By whatever they draw, and then try to special summon and activate the effect of now, so it's like Unicorn, Fenrir, whatever. Special summon, and then try to activate, I don't know, Fenrir effect or Unicorn effect. Boom. Called By on Fenrir in graveyard, and then they have nothing, we just have Zeus here, and then we activate Birth. We can normal summon Rise Heart or Ogre, but like, I don't know why you would do Ogre. And then we can Rise Heart effect to send, well, since we already know Fenrir would be negated in this case from Called By. Special summon Unicorn, add Theosis, and then we can just run over their Fenrir easily just by going battle over it. And we're just doing better. And our Fenrir will be live again next turn, so we could technically use Theosis to grab a copy of Fenrir, and that would be fine. And then at that point, there's nothing you can do. Like, you have no more Fenrirs to top deck probably, if you actually had Fenrirs to top deck to begin with. And yeah, that's how that goes. So for this hand, it's not that great. But like in more hand trap heavy like decks, like if I have like Imperms, Ash Blossoms, any of those, I could have drawn that for turn, right? And then boom, whatever you top deck doesn't really matter. It doesn't do anything, it doesn't beat over Zeus, and then Zeus can beat over it next turn. And then there's a good chance I can just have a play. So yeah. Pretty whack that you just get completely railed by Zeus. And that's just the most generic option I want to mention, because Zeus is an extra deck monster, so technically you can have a deck where it's just 44 different ways to get into Zeus off of just like one card, or actually you don't even have to play that many. You only have to play 36, and you would be guaranteed one way into Zeus, like in hand minimum at least, right? And the only like downside to this in particular, specifically like what I said, is the play is not available because of a Rise Heart. If your opponent has on a Rise Heart, they can detach 3 materials and then target one card on the field, banish it face down. But if they didn't like use 3 guys to make a Rise Heart, like that's typically done to play around Nibiru, because this would be the 4th summon and then you just pass on a Rise Heart. So if they didn't do it like that and they actually have Shangri-Ira, they probably summoned a Rise Heart off of just Rise Heart. So it'd be like, you make Shangri-Ira, special summon Rise Heart effect, banish some dudes, and then Shangri-Ira effect to blank a zone, and then a Rise Heart on top of Rise Heart, and then this just leaves your opponent with a 1 mat a Rise Heart, so it doesn't matter what they summon off of Shangri-Ira, so it's a little bit situational. But like, there's a good chance the Rise Heart, like right now, since people are like just got the cards, they'll just do Shangri-Ira with like a Rise Heart, and then you can just run over like whatever if you wanted, and then make Zeus, wipe the board, chill, and you're just in a much better position in general, because this only took you 1 card to do, right? And keep in mind you're going second, right? So this is not my hand going second because I have 6 cards, right? So we could easily like special summon Ogre and then go for that play, assuming they made a 3-mat one. Make Fenrir, right? Or not make Fenrir, special Fenrir, and I still have like Birth, and we just go crazy, right? And I still have my normal summon, so in this case we have Fog King in hand, so boom. normal summon Fog King, and we're just chilling, right? That doesn't super matter. So, yeah. Not super great there. A lot of people, though, right now are playing Forbidden Lance, and this will just help against, like, Book of Moon and stuff. So let's see if I can find it. Forbidden Lance. Target one face-up monster in the field until the end of the turn. That target loses 800 attack, but is unaffected by the effects of other spells and traps. So, that means you're like Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse, or whatever. This can be chained to that, and then they'll use this on Arisar typically, and it'll just be immune. But also, if you just simply had, for example, let's see. If you have Kurikara Div Incarnate, this can completely rail, just in general, rail cash, right? So the only counterplay would be to have like a 0 attack like Fog King just on the field, more or less. And this just stops the tributing of cards in general. So no tributing can be done. So technically that would be a way to deal with Div Incarnate. I don't think anyone's gonna do that necessarily. But actually this play has a little bit more like big brain to it than expected. So do you know how much Fog King actually plays around if you were able to do your like cash combo and just normal summon Fog King and have it sit there on your board? So first things first, Kaiju. You can no longer Kaiju me. You can no longer Div Incarnate me. You can no longer Nibiru me. That's right, the Nibiru tribute effect just can't be done, right? So this actually beats out like 3 cards like on the spot, right? And then on top of that, Lava Golem, of course, Sphere Mode, just throwing some extra names in for fun. None of that works. So you're just in general doing better. And the only like thing Arisar does is, if you think about it, well, how much does Arisar really do? Like if you do a cash combo, you end on Arisar. The most you can get, really, I think, is just... So, of course, this is Macrocosmos, right? And Macrocosmos is a strong effect, right? But this is not as bad as Shifter because it's not a lingering floodgate, right? Assuming you are affected by, like, macro, right? So, of course, our opponent has, like, Shangri-Ira, Arisar, and then, like, Fenrir. So, this is literally a hero end board, pretty much. So, if you think about it, like, I'm pretty sure Hero can, like, do a 2-card combo that ends on something with, like, around similar power level as this. So, Dark Law, super consistent to make Dark Law now because of Wake Up Elemental Hero, I believe. And then, I mean, DPE, yeah. So, this, of course... doesn't target, so that's slightly better than this because this does target, I believe, right? Let's see, once per chain, book effect. All right, target 1 card on the field, banish it face down. Yeah, so this targets, this does not. So Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer also comes back, so it's a little bit annoying to out, and there is the Link monster they can use to summon back DPE. And then, of course, alongside DPE will probably be, I believe, like, Absolute Zero. I think it was this, right? Yeah. So, if this card leaves the field, destroy all monsters your opponent controls, and they might have a little bit more. Kinda depends, I guess. But, like, this is basically on-demand Raigeki that they can do whatever when they pop it with DPE. DPE pop. Dark Law's Macrocosmos effect, and also if you search a card, you're just going to go like -1, just because, you know, Dark Law. Dark Law moment. Banish a random card from your opponent's hand. because why not, I guess. So, yeah. This is unironically not that much different from just like Hero. The only difference is you have Shangri-Ira to do some zone locking. The zone locking generally has not like come up that much for me. Like yeah, it just hasn't. Like the only effect you can trigger is Rise Heart, and I'll lock one zone. So unless your opponent has like a bajillion like Kashtiras on the field with their Shangri-Ira, like a billion monsters, right? With different names, then they can't really zone lock you. And you still have to activate a monster effect first. So they can't force you to activate a monster effect. Well, not right now anyways, I guess. But because you can't activate a monster effect, and they're just, well, I mean, because you'd have to activate a monster effect to get zone lock, it's a bit awkward. And also, yeah, even if you can play Fog King, you'd need to hard draw Fog King in order to, I guess, be able to Fog King your opponent. And just quick check here. We're going to do a little search. Magician Soul. Is this Dark Spellcaster? No. So technically, I guess you could play Magician Soul to summon, like, Fog King. Like, right? Wait, can you? No, you can't. This only sends Fog King to the graveyard. Alright, never mind. You would still need, like, to be able to Monster Reborn it or something. Well, I'm just a bit tired, so whatever. And, yeah. I guess there's not, like, that much that's actually that great about Kashtira, surprisingly. But, well, the primary issue is that they're just, like, fragile. Super, super fragile. And the messed up thing is that, like, somehow, Fluandry is just not fragile. Like, when Fluandries was just, like, full power and just completely disgusting. So, one card combo, easy access, Robina can summon Barrier Statue. And then you also have the ability to make Apex Avian. And also, map was at 3, so if you normal summon, they can probably normal summon Avian again. And also, Maxi doesn't work against Flu, which is... I mean, it is what it is. If you played Maxi, which I don't, so... that didn't matter to me. And, yeah, of course, Kashtira can't Maxi you because our eyes are effective macro, right? So, that's just how that goes. And also, like, immediately, if any of their monsters are, like, destroyed or whatever, they will get banished. These Flu cards, right? And then, of course, when they get banished, if you normal summon, like, let's say you have literally 0 Flu Flu cards in your hand, like no birds, no birds you would normal summon, or anything, no like monsters, no winged bees, whatever. You can top deck literally DD Crow and just normal summon that, and you might be able to just play off of that. If assuming you have like map still, you can like, for example, normal summon Crow, and then you can do like add Robina, add Eaglin, add Stree, whatever, and then like map effect to like add a guy, and then normal summon all of your cards, and then we're back to square one already, right? Except now they probably also have like unexplored winds. Like, just there's a good chance this is true. Because I believe you would, well, right now you wouldn't do this, but like With Eaglin, you can add another copy of M-Pen, and then with like Spree and Toucan, you can banish your copy of Dreaming Town in the graveyard, and then it's banished, and then you can add it back to your hand, and then it gets worse for your opponent. Yeah. And of course, like, there are no hard ones for turns on these cards. So like Rise of the Mega Monarch, no hard ones per turn, and it can return itself to the hand, essentially, right? Let's see. Tribute this card by tributing target an additional card on the field. Place the first target on top of the deck. Also, after that, return the additional target, if any, to the hand. So that effect, you can return Ryza and then normal summon it again in the same turn. Kind of the same thing with Apex Avian. And of course, like M-Pen is like a pseudo skill drain that some decks can't play around, but whatever. A lot of decks can, but it's not great overall. Oh, also, yeah, they just also end with this, you know? Like, they can 1-card or 2-card out, like, Barrier Statue of Stormwinds. It's like, just this guy, but like, wind monsters only, right? And now some blue players are still playing like Fossil Dyna for some reason. And that's just, you can't special summon at all. Cool. Very cool deck. Anyway, yeah. That's just not like the worst thing in the world. Could be worse. In terms of could be worse, Labyrinth can just grab like the barrier in standby phase. And also, while they're at it, they'll just loop 2 cards out of your hand casually. So, yeah. Are we going to mention that? Like, yeah. That's what they could do in first. So, all in all, like, Kashtira is surprisingly, like, a healthy deck. It's not that bad. The only thing that's, like, kind of painful to play against is, like, Arise Heart's Macrocosmos effect. Aside from that, there's, like, nothing that I super care about in, like, Kashtira that I think would be, like, heinous or war criminal-like, you know. Like, Arise Heart is kind of a floodgate, but, like, honestly, Macro isn't even the worst kind of floodgate. There are much worse floodgates. Well, I mean, like, if I show you guys this, would you understand? Like, yeah. Valence. They just hit you with, like, 3 different floodgates, I guess, like 3, 2, whatever. And I mean, usually there are like some floodgates like that just disable your play, but like 2, yeah, that definitely disables your play. So yeah, that hurts a lot. And the only thing that like outs their board is like pretty much like just fear mode, and not much else. So that really hurts. And yeah. Even in terms of, like, going first, Cash isn't that great. Like, honestly. So, their hand trap resistance is not that super great. So, the issue is, if you can't get into, like, Birth or Theosis, it's, yeah, pretty bad. So, let's just say we special summon Unicorn, effect Veiler on Unicorn. Then the only continuation you have at this point is, so first off, Birth. This can work, but now this requires 3 cards in hand, so you need Birth plus another tier name in hand. But that tier name matters, so, or not tier name. Well, Kashtira, right? So Kashtira name, right? So you need, like, for example, well, ideally, you would have Rise Heart or, like, Fenrir. But, like, Ogre, if you had Ogre, for example, your only play is to make, like, Shangri-Ira pass, or you just summon, like, Ogre and then pass, more or less, which doesn't do a whole lot. And, like I mentioned before, Preparations is actually just, like, a completely useless card, it feels. Well, less useless now, since you have a Rise Heart, so you can more easily banish your own cash cards because, like, I actually wasn't playing macro to like Floodgate. I just wanted to like have my like preparation live, honestly. And the only way you can usually resolve preparations before a Rise Art was just like to use either Rise Art or Side Beast to banish a guy. Aside from that, you can't really get any of your cash guys banished. So like that sucks. This is what I would consider like the primary effect of preparations, because the effect to look at your opponent's hand and then banish one card from it face down, this effect is useless, bro. This does literally nothing. This can be played around so easily. It's actually insane. So if I go ahead and let's say I do my full turn and then I have prep and my like Shangri-Ira or Rise Heart. If my opponent activates Imperm, I can't, like, chaining preparations does literally nothing because it won't like it won't have been activated yet or something. I don't know. Rulings. If this card is already face up in your spell and trap zone, yeah. So it wasn't already, so that doesn't work. So Kashtira prep effect, and then like Imperm, like no matter what chain order we go, like chain 1 prep, chain 2 Imperm, chain 1 Imperm, chain 2 prep, it does nothing. And now let me ask you this question. Is there any possible like trap that your opponent would activate that actually would be like something like prep would be able to respond to? So if your opponent activates evenly matched, you only control like 1 card after evenly matched. So you no longer control a Kashtira monster if you keep preparations. If you don't keep it and keep like a Kashtira monster, we'll just say, I don't know, Fenrir. Then you don't have prep, so you can't use prep effect, okay? Simple. If your opponent's playing like an actual control deck, then they will set 5 and pass, okay? And maybe they'll set their monster or something. Maybe they'll try to activate it. Doesn't super matter, right? But okay, let's banish a card from our opponent's hand. Oh wait, they don't have any cards in hand to banish. So yeah, that effect completely useless. Literally, like if your opponent plays around it, never comes up, never. And it doesn't really hurt your opponent like that much to play around that. Like, never. And then we have Birth. Birth effect to, like, banish 3 cards into your opponent's graveyard. Honestly, just because this can, like, trigger, like, ever. This can just be, like, 1 more zone locked at least. Like, worst case scenario. Even if your opponent just has nothing in the graveyard, like, they have, like, Called by Ash, and then, like, Effect Veiler or something. If you banish those 3, you still lock a zone. But, I mean, you don't even get to lock a zone with prep, so yeah, that does not do a whole lot for you. And yeah, that's just kind of how it goes. So Theosis is pretty cracked, but notably, for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except for XYZ monsters. So this actually locks you into XZ's monsters, and honestly, you're mostly locked into 7s. There aren't like that many cards you can really use at this point. So let's say I want to do a display. So let's say I have Rise Heart with Unicorn in my hand, right? Actually, no. Let's say I have what's a good hand? Let's say I just have Fenrir, Unicorn, and then Nemesis Corridor. I can't really do anything with Nemesis Corridor here anymore, right? I can't make Colossus. So, like, if I do Unicorn, add Birth, then if I want to add Rise Heart to my hand with Fenrir, I can, of course, special summon Rise Heart off of Rise Heart's own effect. But this won't work because I am now XYZ locked by Rise Heart. Or if I use Theosis, also locked, so I can't make Colossus with Nemesis Corridor. And there are like pretty decent like XYZ locks here, you know, with Theosis and like Rysart. Two like relatively important monsters for you to be resolving, unlike Tyr. Bro, Tyr can go like, alright, kick Kalos. Okay, now we'll make Chaos Rule. And while we're at it, let's make Baron. Okay, and then I don't know, let's make like the zombie vampire. Redoer. Okay, yeah, let's do a redoer effect, and we'll probably make like Mud Dragon or something because we can. And then that's a 4. So yeah, let's make while we're at it here, a copy of what's this monster called again? Abyss Dweller. Just make Dweller. Why not? And then, you know, I'm done with Dweller, actually. I don't really want Dweller. Let me go link into, like, the Hark, and then I'll just special summon one of my opponent's guys. And then, oh, yeah. I'll make Sprite Elf here, and then, yeah, I'll be able to summon back Merle now. Or, like, if you're considering, like, post-boundless, I'll summon Diviner here. And then I'll be able to send, like, a guy, again, you know? Fun. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable, right? But here with Kashtira, you know, we're just going to summon Unicorn, and then we're going to like make a Rice Heart, and that's it. And it's pretty predictable what they'll be playing, you know. The most shocking thing they could do is make like a funny rank 4, and I don't think there's any rank 4 that's like super worth making. There's a fun dude that like just books your opponents, but you can't make it with like Rise Heart. It requires dark monsters. It was like some Swarm card. But yeah. Just in general, it's a pretty like fair deck, surprisingly. Like if you were to consider this deck meta right now, like you'll probably be seeing it a lot since it just like came out and people want to play it, right? Is there really an issue with cash? Like, do they do anything that degenerate to you? And before you answer that question, let me remind you of some of the metas we've been through. Eldlik meta, Solemn Judgment, Golden Land Forever, Skill Drain, There Can Be Only One, Rivalry of Warlords, Goes in Match, 3 of Skill Drain, 3 of Rivalry, Summon Limit, Anti-Spell, Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Yeah, so, that's great, isn't it? And then, Laundries. Okay. Barrier Statue. Enough said, we will move on. And then, this. Sharon Effect. Special Summon Window. Special Summon Abyss Dweller. And yeah, I think that's enough said for that, right? Not much more needs to be said about that. And then Branded. Branded Expulsion Effect. Special Summon Ito. Yeah. But honestly, like, Branded on release wasn't that bad. This is, like, probably the like, one of the more fair ones. Except it's, like, insane grind game, and, like, you get, like, resources out of nowhere, like, for free. So, activate Branded Fusion, send Tragedy. Tragedy adds a dude. And then, like, also, while we're at it, like, we have Albion here. And Albion will add us, like, another copy of Branded Fusion later. So I'll have Branded Fusion again. You know, just casually. And also, like, Tragedy actually has a graveyard effect. So this can reset Branded Fusion as well. And then Branded in red. Guardian Chimera. Draw some cards as well as pop some cards. And then also Mirror Jade just has that annoying destroy effect. And also, of course, this, you know, Branded Fusion, whatever. This is, like, more or less a 1-card combo. So I still have, like, 3 hand cards, which are all presumably like hand traps or something like that. So I also have impermanent stuff. And yeah, I'll keep having recovery and be able to like Branded Fusion nearly like every single turn. For like, I don't know, like a solid 10 turns probably. So yeah, that's cool. So like with that being considered, the only thing that like actually matters is just the macrocosmos effect on our eyes heart. It's not that bad, surprisingly. In fact, like Pearly is like even more obnoxious. Like Pearly effect, Sleepy Memory, draw 3. Pearly Yeep effect, draw 3 more. Yeah. So just I'll draw 6. Yeah, like just cuz, and then I'll probably drop Maxi as well because I mean come on, like a lot of deck thinning happened, so there's like a very high chance to draw into hand traps after like deck thinning and using all of your copies of Delicious Memory and Pearly. So yeah, that's about expected. And also, while you're at it, you got like any kaijus. If you don't have kaiju specifically, you probably don't have any out for my Noir. And let's assume you have an out for my Noir. Alright, it's time to deal with the 6 like cards I just drew, which are likely hand traps, so you'll have to try to kill me through that. And if you of course kaiju'd my Expertly Noir, I have the effect of Straight Pearly Street. So I have 1 body to chop block. That'll help me out a little bit, and of course the kaiju you gave me. And then on top of that, this will trigger my friend. So I will add 3 Pearly Quick Play spells with different names from my graveyard to my hand, and that will be for next turn's play, And I'll be able to do whatever. And also, speaking of my friend, I have my friend search next turn. So you better be able to remove like all of this or lethal me on this turn or something. Maybe drop a heinous floodgate. Like super heinous, like I'm talking skill drain. Like some form of skill drain, like drop plasma right now. And hopefully there's just no out to plasma. Well, I guess with my friend you can't imprint plasma, so yay. And if you have Effect Veiler, that only works during my turn, so I guess great. Fun. And also Droll and Lockbird, I guess they can just draw into Droll, and Droll just destroys a lot of decks randomly, so fun. Just for example, Punk. So you're telling me after my ZM and search, I can't do like my wagon search, meaning I can't get my draws. Even if I had this, I can't do my I can't get my draws from this either. And then we have like our Punk Jam Dragon Drive. I can't add this. I mean, I can at least send it to the graveyard just to have the name for like Amazing Dragon, but yeah, that still sucks. So pain. Droll. Speaking of which, you can't be drolled by Kashtira either. So that's great, I guess. And I mean, there's no real like point in playing like Shifter, I don't think, in Kashtira, because I just probably end up bricking you more than anything else, so whatever. If we did this, like, look at these hands. Like, sure, some of these hands are great, but like, does this do like that much? If we go ahead and let's see. Here, there's not like a whole lot we can super do here, but actually this is just a crazy hand. We'll try another one. This actually works because I can Kashtira Theosis on Shangri-Ira here, and then we can summon like Fenrir, summon Riseheart. So this hand's actually fine. And then this hand, incredibly mid. I mean, this is the kind of hand we can actually Colossus, though. But yeah, one of the things that's actually, like, noteworthy is how jank Kashtira actually is. If you, like, let's disregard Theosis and Birth for a second, okay? If we disregard them and just focus mostly on the monsters, so, like, we're just saying these aren't in hand, right? If Special Summon Unicorn, and then we negate Unicorn, the only continuation play is to simply have Riseheart in hand, and then after Riseheart, you can just make Shangri-Ira. So Shangri-Ira is good and all, but this is like no different like from more or less set Infinite Impermanence or set Raigeki Break. Like same energy, right? And we'll just like pop one dude, you know? It's like Activate Fusion Destiny Pass might be considered a bit better than this, right? So that's not super great. And then like if you give your opponent a monster, they actually like would have to have a normal summon available. So it's RNG. Like even if you play some kind of Link 2, like Donner is commonly played, I have IP here just for funsies. All right, let's roll some hands. So this one, I have special summon Side Beast and Ascendant of Thunder. So I can play. Let's say my opponent gives me like a token off of like Girsu, and then just passes and does nothing for no particular reason. Must be misclick, whatever. So this hand, yeah, this hand was bad to begin with, so it's not like playable. Okay. And then we have this hand here. So this hand may be playable. But honestly, if our opponent just gave us a monster for free and then just passed, like, there's this really crappy, like, monster, actually. I don't remember the name. So, it involves dice. That should narrow it down. So, instead of dice, let's write die. Oh. And then let's add roll. Does that help narrow it down? Let's see. Where is it? Hinezumi Hanabi. If our opponent literally normal summoned this, and then like passed, and then we got control of this monster, like, let's assume that happens. Will we always have a hand that can just play through that? No, not really. So, my build's actually weird compared to other people's, because I'm running like a lot of copies of Ascended Thunder and Fog King. Normally, you just have a lot of copies of like Kashtira names like Fenrir, so you wouldn't be able to like summon Fenrir, right? And then if we were to summon like Rysart here, this isn't super great. Well, actually, a lot of my hands are fine because I built for this. But if we remove these guys, you bet your sweet ass breaking is going to happen. And of course, yo, but what if they not only have the ability to give you a guy? So back to the Orcus thing. Okay, my opponent actually did the combo this time. Okay, I normal summon a guy. Sure, we'll say normal summon Rysart. That doesn't matter what you normal summon. Okay, I will now activate Orcus Symbol Skeleton. Special summon Dingirsu. Send your guy to the graveyard. Cool. Now what? Set like to pass back. I guess that's what you would be able to do. Yeah, that's not gonna do a whole lot. And yeah, that's just kind of how it goes, right? So I just happen to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 normal summons, which is just a regular, honestly. I think people are starting to cut out Side Beast already, so you would expect to see something more in line with like this. So let's throw in an extra copy of like Theosis just cause, and then boom. Let's see. We have Ascendant of Thunder. So pop Ascendant of Thunder, and then like if I have a token, I can't summon Unicorn. Boom. That's done for it. Normal summon Rysart, popped, I'm doomed. Okay, and then this hand. Yeah, we don't talk about that hand. And then this hand, Scarecrow Cash. Yeah. So it's a bit of a hindrance. It kind of depends. But usually if you pair it with like some form of removal, it does a bit better. But like a token really hurts and it just causes the material. Like one of my opponents, like I don't remember why they had a body. Wait, I remember. They activated Nibiru for some reason. So that Nib actually hurt them so much. It was dumb. The only card they had that was normal summonable was Ash Blossom Joy Spring, so they actually had to Ash Blossom, like, normal summon Ash Blossom, and then they had to make Donner, and then I negated Donner, and then, yeah. Not much they had going there after that point. So, yeah. We're the awkward situation. Just a bit of jank. And because of this though, all of these guys, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, these 8 like cash names, they all have anti-synergy with one another, which just sucks in general. So if we just consider these guys and just don't consider like Rysart for a second, or like Theosis, Birth, like, because you can get denied access into them, it's totally reasonable for that to happen. Then you special summon Unicorn, and then you can't even like normal summon any of these guys, like even via tributing. So that is pretty incredibly awkward. So even if you open like Fenrir Unicorn, if Unicorn is negated, Fenrir just sits in hand. And of course, if you summon Fenrir, the only way you're going to be summoning Unicorn is if you special summon Rysart and then tribute summon Unicorn by like tributing both Rysart and Fenrir. Like, as insane as that sounds. So, in general, this deck is just less annoying than, like, for example, Pearly. Like, all of the cards you would be playing against, like, Cash, just, like, anti-Cash attack, it's not going to do you that good, honestly. But, like, just in general, for the best decks I recommend is just, well, the best generics I recommend, Curry, Kara, Divincarnate, because all these cards will just trigger, right? So, for example, Shangri-Ira, of course your opponent activates Shangri-Ira. A Rise Heart, they have no choice. A Rise Heart is mandatory. So if I activate, for example, Small World to add Curry, Kara, Divincarnate, yeah, their board's mostly gone, and then we can just, like, attack over Fenrir, and then we can special summon back, like, whoever we want during the end phase, right? And then we're just solid. And that doesn't even consider, like, if I have any plays to make. For example, I don't know, normal summon Xiamen, and then punk full combo. And then we can summon a guy in end phase, you know, for example. That would still work. And we'd be chillin'. And then there's also just evenly matched in general. Evenly is pretty good into like most decks. It usually trades for something at the very least. And then there is, let's see, just kaijus in general are good. Kaijus, of course, these don't require your normal summon like Lava Golem. They're a little bit weaker than like Lava Golem or Sphere Mode. But not requiring your normal summon allows for like your usual plays and makes them more splashable into a lot more decks. So that's always pretty good. If we have, let's say, a Rice Heart gets tributed by Yamosil. A Rice Heart is just pretty gone, so that's nice. And then summoning like a Rice Heart is just whatever, right? And then you're probably fine. I don't think your opponent can super recover from this point. Notably, like, let's say I have all my monsters in attack position and I just do a punk combo, and let's say it gets like interrupted and I don't end on the full thing, and I just have, let's say, I don't know, just Gorori Punk Dangerous Gabu. I can negate Shangri-Ira, and then my opponent's only play is probably to try to make Zeus, but you don't have the protection of Shangri-Ira because it's negated, so if you try to attack into something, it just gets destroyed. And they have to do this, like, pretty much no matter what, this play. Because, if, like, assuming they drew into a cash name, it doesn't matter that they would need, like, an empty field. So they would need to crash Shangri-Ira to, like, summon Unicorn, for example. So, like, yeah. Pretty awkward. And Diablosis is gone, but I don't think Diablosis did, like, that much. The main issue with Diablosis is probably just how many main deck cards it just banishes off rip, so whatever. And then combined with, like, the Macrocosmos effect, that's a bit excessive, that's a bit much. But like, just as of right now, I don't think there's any significant issues with Kashtira. Like, Kashtira, like, I don't know. There's a good chance they don't even get hit by like the ban list that hard. I think like they might get hit with like a semi limit at most. Like they might semi something. I don't know, like maybe semi unicorn if at all. But in Master Duel format, like the going second power on this deck isn't even that great. So of course, like any XYZ deck, you have the ability to make Zeus, but like Utopia can make Zeus. Come on. And then like aside from that, Fenrir is just generally good, you know, to break boards with. It helps. But like, how much can this realistically do? Going second into like any controlled deck is like more or less a death sentence. And then following that, there's also like this deck is super expensive for some reason. I don't know why. So let's count the URs I have here. 1, 2, 3 copies of Unicorn, 2 copies of Fenrir, and then it's like 3 copies of Riser. And then you'll want to play 1 of Raidself because of course you do. And then 3 of Kashtira Theosis. And that's like 3 more, so that's like 9, 11, 12. And then honestly, you want to be playing 2 or 3 Arise Heart anyways. So it's like 14, 15 URs, just archetype wise. Those are what you're looking at. So pretty expensive considering that there isn't a secret pack, so. Well, not right now at least. So you can still pick them up from the selection, but after the selection ends, building this, brutal. Absolutely brutal. And yeah, just in general though, like, because your hand trap choice is limited, like, for a variety of reasons. So you have a Rise Heart, and then you have just your cash cards in general. So like, playing Nibiru is just like, it sounds pretty awful to me. It's like doable, like usable, right? But sounds awful. Same with like, for example, a Maxi or like Droll and Lockbird. Being able to resolve that would only be when you're going second. So going first, it would be bricking you like all the time. So that's a bit awkward. Effect Veiler. How does this work? Is this a discard? Oh, whoops. Effect Veiler. Is this discard? No. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. So you can't activate Effect Veiler either. Good to know. So you're, well, definitely best hand trap choice is probably like Ash Blossom Joe Spring and Infinite Impermanence as well. Those will be really good in general. And in fact, a funny play that you could do is like you technically cross out to get a cash name banished, which is funny. It might be negated, but it won't be negated next turn. And I find that a little bit funny. But like, actually, this deck also has the issue of being unable to close out games. So you have big guys and that's it. They're big guys, but they don't have like removal on them. So like Unicorn helps with the removal, but it's probably not going to be enough for lethal, honestly. Like let's assume you activate Dark Ruler no more on your opponent and they have like a full end board. Cleaning up that end board is actually a bit rough, and a Rise Heart banishes 1, and then like Fenrir banishes 1 dude. So like, let's say your opponent of course has a full board, so at minimum like around 5 monsters I'd say I would consider a full end board, right? It's like 5 or 6. So Fenrir removes 1, or Rise Heart removes 1, and then by battle, like assuming you have 5 dudes, right? That ain't lethal. Assuming you have like, I don't know, like your opponent has like 1 less dude, still not lethal. But I guess you can make Zeus after, so you have like a backup in case something happens to like your Arise Heart. Unless your opponent activates like Change of Heart, then in that case, your next plan is activate Arise Heart, banish Zeus, and then hopefully your opponent has no play under like Arise Heart. Well, yeah. And that's just kind of how it goes. It's just whatever. So Rise Heart, like, overall is strong, of course, but it's also got no protection, like, just in general, so it's pretty, like, easy to out, surprisingly. And because of that, this is actually not as oppressive as it seems. Like, notably, an actual Macrocosmos is going to be harder to out than a Rysart because most, like, interactions in this game are going to be monster-based, and that's because, like, there are win conditions, right? So, you can get your opponent's life points to drop to 0, deck out, and then, like, alternative win condition. Like, for example, Exodia. So, of course, your opponent is likely playing some kind of interaction to deal with monsters because the most common way that most decks win is by reducing your opponent's life points to 0 via battling with monsters, right? So, of course, like, because of that, you and I are both armed with that knowledge, yes? So, all of our interactions will be to either stop them from being summoned, we can remove them from the field, and other stuff like that, right? What's less common is just back row removal in general, so like an actual just raw Macrocosmos in the back row. This is completely worse to out. Alright, let's say I have Macrocosmos, and you can only out this with monsters. Well, how would you out this? Well, the best play is to either to access your extra deck and have an out in your extra deck for this. Okay, cool, but let's say I have an Imperm as well. Because keep in mind that this is Macrocosmos. Why am I playing Macrocosmos? Of course, I'm playing some kind of back row heavy deck. Probably like something like a stun deck. Alright, now, once again, how do you remove Macrocosmos now? Considering I have Imperm, so probably some Judgments and other stuff. Likely, at this point, there can be only one. How do you remove this? And, okay, let's say you have, like, Twin Twister or something. You remove Macrocosmos. Another one of my cards. Alright, I will flip over the second Macrocosmos. I can flip over Rivalry, Tikaboo, whatever. What is the plan now? To suffer, I suppose. And hey, Rysart's a machine? Wow. Didn't really realize that. Just noticed. But, anyways. Yeah. Surprisingly not as oppressive, so if we, like, Pank, we can destroy this, and we're doing better. Just for example, though, I'll just go ahead and look at, like, my recent few games. So, yeah, I've been kind of, like, trolling a bit, so don't ask me what I've been playing, alright? So, let's see, what is my opponent playing here? Okay, how much back row removal do they have? Let's pretend, for example, that they are affected by, like, macro. But in fact, let's just say we have Tikaboo, which would do it, or goes in match. Okay, where is our opponent's back row removal? We have Harpy's Feather Duster. And then what? Why are they playing Natis? For Dogmatica? Really? Well, anyways, one of Duster. So that's like a 1 in 10 chance to open that, basically. Great. Where's the back row removal here? My opponent's deck. They literally just aren't running it. There's no back row removal here, so yeah. If I have a floodgate that's just affecting them, nothing they can do about it. And then here, what's my opponent playing? One of Duster. Okay. This is all they have. So, if I hit them with a nasty floodgate, like, yeah, that's it. You can't remove it. Cool. And even if they did have, like, Duster in hand, Solemn Judgment on Duster, and now what do they have? Literally, there is no card in their deck that can possibly out this. Cool. And then here, we have another deck here. Let's look for any back row removal. None. 0% chance of being able to do anything. No evenly or anything. Okay. Let's go. Wait, that was the same one. Okay. So, down here now. Okay, back row removal check. My man says no back row removal. Ay ay ay. So, let's say Skill Drain. If Skill Drain is active, can my opponent remove Skill Drain? No. Evenly doesn't actually work because they can just keep Skill Drain. Why are you playing a pointer, dude? You're psycho. Okay. What we got here? Any back row removal? Nope. Literally nothing. Skill drain means you pretty much just lost the duel. Well, actually, with that deck, they actually had one way, and it's very specific and really dumb. You have to use Branded Beast to remove skill drain. But also, once again, Solemn Judgment, you know, that's a card that exists as 3 of, so. 1 of Branded Beast versus 1 of skill drain and 3 of Solemn Judgment. Who would win? Okay, next. 1 of Lightning Storm and 1 of Duster. Aside from that, not much else. Cool. And then what was this? 1 of Duster. Sure. What is wrong with you? But yeah, that ain't going to do much. How about this? Eradicator Epidemic Virus. This kind of works, but you don't have a way to actually search it under skill drain, so it's like, whatever. And then here, what do we have here? Nothing. If you get hit by skill drain, you just lose. That's it. How about this guy? Is this a different list? Yeah, it is. And no outs to skill drain. Shocker. And this guy, any outs to skill drain? No outs to skill drain. How about this guy? Any outs to skill drain? Once again, just Branded Beast, if anything at all. Okay, any outs to skill drain here? Is this a different list? Okay, well, no, I think that was the same dude. Sometimes that happens, I guess. This guy, playing 60 cards of, I don't even know why. I think this guy was trying to go second. But, yeah. Cool. This guy has outs to skill drain. But they're playing 60 cards, so it's kind of like, eh. You know, like, whatever. But, like, 90% of people just don't even have a main deck way to, like, get rid of skill drain here. Like, just as you can see, right? Clearly. Like, what are you going to do to me if I activate skill drain on you? I guess you will lose, and that's about it. And that's just skill drain, you know? No outs to skill drain. So, going second into floodgates, you just don't have outs anyways. Like, yeah. Especially exemplified if it is a back row floodgate. Like, this is why stun is actually, like, being really played right now. Like, surprisingly still, right? Because no one's, like, main decking any back row hate. But if they main deck too much back row hate, then it's completely useless against, like, decks that don't have that much back row. Like, for example, if I have, like, Arise Heart. Is Duster going to out Arise Heart? Is Lightning Storm going to out Arise Heart? Yes, if I put him in attack, but why would I ever do that? Yeah, so in general, nothing will really be, well, outing skill drain here, right? That was like 20 lists I just went through, and the majority of them, no out to skill drain or just 1 out exactly, 1 of Duster. And bro, by the time you draw Duster, I'm like 90% sure, like, unless you opened it, I have Solemn. Even if you opened it, I still probably have Solemn, right? That or Lord of the Heavenly Prison can back me up here, and we can just chain. And we're still doing fine. Probably, right? Like, we can just chain 1 floodgate at a time, like, alright, flip macro first. Oh, you dust out macro? Alright, time to flip Tikaboo. Alright, you have no more back row removal. Cool. I guess you lose. And yeah, that would be that, I guess. So, really bad matchup into control. So, going second as well. Not, like, the best. So, the best part of, like, going second with Kashtira is specifically if your opponent has removal for your guys. So, if I summon, like, Unicorn, my opponent removes my Unicorn, I can still special summon Fenrir. So this is better than, like, for example, like, some decks where you just normal summon a guy that gets negated. Let's say Flu, for example. I normal summon Robina, We'll just negate Robina with like negate destroy, and then you're out of plays probably. And then for with like Cash, you can still like special summon Fenrir and then try to make a play that way. But I hate to break it to you, but your opponent probably has like something for this as well. But notably, if they destroy when you summon, like on summon, since the effect at search is an ignition effect, uh, they can just completely make it impossible for you to search. So like, for example, we'll do... Well, this hand is just too shit. Okay. Let's get one with 2 cash names. So, here, our play would be like to special summon Unicorn. If Unicorn is destroyed, we can special summon Ogre. If it is not destroyed, we can normal summon Cybeast. And then we'll try to make a rank 7 play and go into Zeus. So you're just trying to go into Zeus at this point. And Zeus has like some really awkward synergies. Yeah, it's like not that much synergy. It's just like you have no better play. And it doesn't have like synergy, actually. That's what I meant to say. So if we go ahead and like summon Zeus, you can't summon like a high material Zeus in general. The only way you would be able to do so is if you were able to activate Shangri-Ira effect somehow, or Shangri-Ira effect was activated during the turns at some point, so you like normal or special summon Shangri-Ira and then summon Arise Heart on top of that, and then Zeus. That's the only way you get 2 activations on Zeus. Aside from that, you're just a sitting duck with Zeus, and then like if you draw any cash cards, like for example Theosis, Unicorn, Fenrir, Ogre, whatever, even like Rise Heart, none of those work with Zeus, so you're kind of just stuck with Zeus for the rest of the game almost, unless your opponent like removes Zeus for you. There's just not much you're going to be doing aside from sitting on Zeus going second, and that like just sucks a bit. But like, you do what you gotta do, and that was the best play with the highest odds of you winning, I guess. So yeah, that sucks. And then like, you can set imprims and stuff, assuming you have them. If you tried to activate Birth that turn, well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you'll have to like get rid of Birth. I mean, sometimes that comes up. And yeah, Kashtira, I don't know. People have opinions, and I think Kashtira honestly is like just pretty mid deck. It's like whatever. And if you have something to say about the Floodgate, like going first, like right? Ocean Dragon Lord, Kyriushin. While Umi is on the field, each player can only control 1 face-up non-water monster. If a player controls 2 or more, they must send some to the graveyard, so they only control 1. During your main phase, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 Umi or 1 Kyriushin spell trap or 1 Sea Stealth spell trap. You can only use this effect of Ocean Dragon Lord Kyriushin once per turn. And then you look at Arise Heart and it's like, is Arise Heart that bad, man? Like, you know? You can still activate cards, right? And you know, that's telling of some other, like, decks, you know? Yeah. Apollosa. And then we have Fossil Dyna, Secret Village. Enough said. So, yeah. That's all I got for you guys today, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.